and gentlemen, my name is Tom Burns, and welcome to WWE Reviews with Tom Burns, Episode 3. We're reviewing the Raw from the 10th of September. I've got the results up here. I've watched it obviously, but I like to have the results here by the side of me so I can go through what order the show was in, because it has been a few days since I watched it. I remember what happened on it, but I can't remember a certain order to how things went. So anyway, let's begin. So the start of Raw, Dolph Ziggler, Drew McIntyre, and Braun Strowman, they opened the show. They had all the heels basically of Raw around the ring. All the heels that helped attack the Shield the week previously. They were all there, and basically they were saying thank you to them for, standing up to the Shield, and basically saying that, they were the ones that were doing what they wanted now, like the Shield, once were, and they were. What did Braun Strowman call them? I can't remember what he called them, but anyway, that led to the Shield coming out. And taking everybody out basically, apart from Braun Strowman, McIntyre and Dolph Ziggler. They got out of harm's way, but the rest of the heels, they were attacked and put down by the Shield. So yeah, it was a pretty good way to open Raw with the Shield. I'd give the segment about 6 out of 10. Well, yeah, pretty solid way to start the show. So after that, it went to commercial. It came back from commercial, and there was a clip being shown from the Bella Twins YouTube channel, and their dressing room had been vandalised by the Riot Squad. So that led into That led into a match between Nikki Bella and So yeah, that happened, and then after that, the Shield were backstage. The Shield were backstage, and they were basically face to face with 4 cops. And Baron Corbin said, "I don't want to get you arrested again like last week. So if you don't leave the arena right now, I will strip Seth, I'll strip you of your titles." So basically, they left, or we thought they left, but we'll get to that later. And that's how that segment ended. So I talked about the clip from before of the Riot Squad trashing the Bella Twins dressing room. It led into Nikki Bella versus Ruby Riott. A great match, in my opinion. Two very talented women. Nikki Bella, one of the greatest women wrestlers of all time, in my opinion, and Ruby Riott, one of the best wrestlers on the roster today. So it was a very good match. I enjoyed it. Nikki Bella hit the Rock Attack 2.0 and pinned Ruby Riott. After that, the Big Show hosted a Connor's Cure segment, and he was just introducing all the different people that are currently fighting or have survived cancer. So that was that. Then after that, Drake Maverick, who is the new manager for AOP, he was giving them a bit of a pep talk, and that led into the Authors of Pain versus Roddy Ace and Nathan Bradley, basically local talent. Obviously, the AOP ended up winning quite easy. So then it cut to a limo pulling up, and Triple H got out. Obviously, it was already announced that he was going to be on Raw, to kind of respond to what happened the previous week with The Undertaker and Shawn Michaels. So that was that. So then Triple H came out to the ring, cut a promo, he said a few things. He said, Taker, you're quite right. This has become personal. At Super Showdown, everybody's expecting you to win, but at Super Showdown, I will put you down. And that was basically the gist of what Triple H had to say. So yeah. After that, we had Dolph Ziggler and Drew McIntyre defending the tag team titles in a tag team rematch. A tag team title. Drew McIntyre and Dolph Ziggler took on the B team in a tag team title match. It was the B team's automatic rematch. Decent match. I honestly thought the B team were going to win at one point. They didn't end up doing that. Drew McIntyre and Dolph Ziggler ended up beating the B team and retaining the titles. A solid 6 out of 10 match. Oh, the Nikki Bella match was a I would say about a 7 out of 10. It was a really good match. And the Authors of Pain match against local talent, I give it about a 3 out of 10 because it was a squash match. So sorry, I forgot to give ratings to the matches. So that was that. So then it cuts. So after the match, Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose show up, even though they were supposed to leave, and they beat up Drew McIntyre and Dolph Ziggler. After that, after commercial, it cuts to Baron Corbin's office, where he threatens to have Seth and Dean arrested because they were supposed to leave the building but didn't. Basically, Seth and Dean kind of outsmart Baron Corbin, saying, "Look, we're not in Shield gear. We're in just our normal attire. We're not the Shield. We're just Seth and Dean. You said you wanted the Shield to go. You never said anything about just Seth and Dean." And then they said, "But you wouldn't want to get us arrested because they had something on Baron Corbin, some kind of criminal. Baron Corbin had done something criminal. Not really. It was all storyline, but there was something criminal that Baron Corbin had done, and there was a sheriff in Baron Corbin's office as well because Baron Corbin brought him in to arrest Seth and Dean. And then he starts to arrest Baron Corbin, but Baron Corbin says, whoa, wait, Seth, can I speak to you on your own for a second? So he speaks to Seth. We don't see that. We just see Dean and the sheriff having a bit of a comedy segment where Dean said, if I get in trouble with the police again, you'll be the first port of call I'll make. And then Seth comes out laughing, rubbing his hands together, and then we find out that Seth and Dean have a tag team title match against Drew McIntyre and Dolph Ziggler at Hell in a Cell. So that was that. So then, after another commercial, I think there was a commercial anyway, Kevin Owens is out in Kevin Owens music hits, and he comes out to the middle of the ring. Then Tyler Breeze comes out. He's supposed to have a match with Tyler Breeze, but he beats him up before the bell even starts. So basically, he beats Tyler Breeze up and then does a promo in the ring, saying, when I quit last week on Raw, I was really quitting, and I walked out of the building, and I was ecstatic, and I was happy for the first time. I didn't have the pressure to have to come back to Raw the week after. But then I had a phone call from acting general manager Baron Corbin, saying that, basically begging me to come back. And the only way I agreed to come back was if I could do what I want without repercussions. And acting GM Baron Corbin get me that right. He said, so I can do whatever I want. There won't be repercussions. So what I did to Tyler Breeze tonight is just the start of what I will be doing to each and every member. What would only be the start of what I'm planning on doing. So that was basically his promo. So I think there's definitely a commercial between that and that. So Bobby Roode and Chad Gable, um, they come out. They're in a match with the Ascension. Uh, Chad, he seems very excitable at the moment. Like Bobby Roode wasn't really involved much in the match. Chad won it a lot, most of it. He won most of the match by himself. Bobby didn't really do much. But Bobby Roode, Chad Gable defeated the Ascension in a 5 out of 10 match, in my opinion. So there we go. So then there was a promo after backstage segment. Sorry, after that, Baron Corbin found Ziggler and McIntyre in the locker room and told them that the match they'll be having at Hell in a Cell, which will be Seth and Dean in a tag team title match. They weren't happy. They were like, "Why are they being rewarded? This isn't right." Blah 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 blah. So yeah, that was that. So after that, we have a match: Ronda Rousey and Natalya featuring Ronda Rousey and Natalya versus Alexa Bliss and Mickie James. A solid 6 out of 10 match. It looks as if well, for the first time ever, Ronda Rousey looked weak in a WWE ring. It didn't last long, but she did look weak. In the end, she kind of rallied and ended up, winning the match with Natalya. 6 out of 10 match, as I said. There was a little there was a little backstage segment after where Elias was holding a cup of coffee or a cup of tea. It was tea. He wanted chamomile tea. He had a sip, spat it at his personal assistant, and that was that. But and then as Elias was doing that, Braun Strowman started on a rampage to try and find Roman Reigns, and he started throwing random backstage guys about, asking where Roman Reigns was. So that was that. So after that, it cut to Charlie Caruso. After the commercial, it cut to Charlie Caruso, and she was asking Ronda Rousey if she was worried about Sunday after her ribs took a lot of damage in the match that she had with Alexa Bliss and Mickie James. And she said, "Look, I've been injured in the past, but I've never backed out of a fight. I've gone into fights injured because even when I'm injured, I'm not 100%. I'm still the best." And that was it. I loved that. I loved that little, promo. Ronda Rousey's definitely getting better on the mic. She was very shaky when she first came to the review, but of course she's going to be, because when it comes to UFC and stuff like that, they don't really have to do a lot of promos. It's done for them. So it wasn't surprised that she was a bit shaky, but she's picked it up quite quick. So, there we are. So then Elias is in the ring, singing and playing his guitar. Mick Foley, who was announced for Raw, he interrupts Elias, which Elias gets interrupted every week, and he comes out and says, he's supposed to come out and speak about the 20th anniversary of the Hell in a Cell match between him and the Undertaker. Well, he comes out, and at first he's complimenting Elias on his music ability and blah blah blah, but then he says, Elias goes off on a tangent and basically slates Mick Foley and blah blah blah, saying that he's the past and I'm the future, and then and then Mick Foley said, "Look, I'm not here to talk about the past. I'm not here to talk about the 20-year anniversary," which he was supposed to be, but he said, "I'm not here to talk about that." He said, "Everybody knows what happened in that match. Everybody's seen that match. There's no really real need for me to talk about it." He didn't say all that, but that's basically the gist of what he was getting at. He said, "I'm here to talk about the future," and I asked if could I be part of Hell in a Cell, seeing as it was a 20-year anniversary. Whether it be ringing the bell, whether it be keeping being the timekeeper, whether it be being the announcer, whether it be, you know, whatever. And he said, well, I've been given a job at Hell in a Cell, and when Braun Strowman and Roman Reigns are locked inside that Hell in a Cell match, so will I be. Because I'm going to be the special guest referee at Hell in a Cell. Now, I'm very much looking forward to that match, even more so now that Mick Foley's going to be involved. I hope Mick Foley takes some kind of bump, not because I don't like the guy or anything like that. It just would make it more exciting. But I don't know if he will, because he's not exactly in the best shape. But who knows? It's Mick Foley at the end of the day. So yeah, that was a pretty good segment. I'd give that I'd give that a 7 out of 10, that segment. So then it cuts. Oh, sorry. Foley makes he said, Stephanie McMahon's given permission to make one match, and he makes a match between Elias and Finn Balor. So after that, it cuts to Braun Strowman, who's continuing to go on his rampage backstage, and he's yelling for Roman. Well, lots of backstage people are running away. So that was just a little segment there. So then it commercial. It goes to commercial. It comes back, and it's Finn Balor versus Elias. I'm going to give this match 8 out of 10. They're two very, very good in-ring performers. I mean, out of this world in-ring performers. So yeah, it was a very, very good match. So yeah, an 8 out of 10 in my opinion. So that was that. It cuts. Then there's a video cuts to where Leo Rush, whoever that is, tried to motivate Bobby Lashley. So I don't know what that was about. That's the only time we saw Bobby on Raw. So that was that, and then. So then Charlie starts to try and interview Braun Strowman, but he was just asking where Roman was, and she said, "Look, I don't know where Roman is, but why don't you go to the ring and call him out? He might find you, or he can come find you." And Braun was like, "Oh, actually, that's a good idea." So he goes out to the ring. He starts yelling for Roman, and at first Roman doesn't come out, and Braun's like, that's what I thought. He's a coward without his boys, blah 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 blah. Then Roman's music hits. Braun's looking all around, and I'm thinking, and I thought to myself, is Roman going to come from the crowd? Which he hasn't done in a long time. I'm like, is he coming from the crowd? No, he's not. And all of a sudden, he's down on top of the announce table at the top of the ramp, holding his title above his head. So then, obviously, Braun goes up to try and get him. They brawled, and then they ended up on top of the announce table. Roman picked Braun up and did a Samoan drop through the stage, a part of the staging area, and it ended with Roman on top. Roman standing over Braun, who looked in pain, holding his title above his head. And that's your Raw. It's been quite a quick review this week, but that's because there's not really been much to talk about. I would say the last segment I would give it a 7 out of 10. So overall I'd give the Raw, it was nowhere near as good as last week's, so I'd give overall Raw a 6 out of 10 for this week. So yeah, that is it. There's not much else for me to say. I hope you enjoy this video. I'll be back next week with not only a Raw review, but a Hell in a Cell review. I very much look forward to watching Hell in a Cell. I'm off work on Monday, so I should be able to do the Hell in a Cell review the next day. And then I'm working the Tuesday, but I might be able to do the review at some point on the Tuesday. I don't know if I will be able to, but maybe at some point I might be able to. If not, it might be Thursday, like it's Thursday, well, it's technically Friday now, but I'm doing it later this week, the Raw review. It might be later next week that I get to do it, but there will be a Hell in a Cell review between that anyway, and perhaps a few reaction videos, so you know, look out for them. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.